Yes. Oh, beautiful. Nine Inch Nails, one of the greatest bands in the history of the world. Rock, industrial, alternative, all kinds of genres. Trent Reznor, of course, the lead singer, the lead songwriter of the band. They've made a lot of great hits, a lot of great albums, but this particular song that I want to talk about today is one that I just had to make a video about because this song just connects with me on such a personal level. When I first heard this song, I was driving, I was in the car, and I just I arrived to my destination, and I just sat there thinking about this song and being like, this is one of the most perfect songs I've ever listened to. Easy, man. And you don't really get a lot of those in life. I mean, if you're lucky, and you take the time to listen to a lot of music, you'll probably come across a lot. I've come across a lot, of course, but there's a few, in the grand scheme of things. When you think about just how much music there is and how much music you listen to, when is there a time where you listen to a song and you're like, this is a perfect song? And obviously there's a lot of personal connection to this song, like I mentioned, but the songwriting, the production, and overall the themes and the meaning of the song are just absolutely God tier. And I have to talk about it. What song am I talking about? Well, you already know what it is. The title of this video says it, but it is, of course, The Good Soldier. This is a track from Nine Inch Nails' Year Zero album that came out in 2007. So what we're going to do here is listen to the song, and then we'll talk about it, dissect it a little bit. Let's do it.
Number one.
That is absolutely fantastic, right? I mean, the song is perfect length, 3 minutes and 23 seconds. So tight, yet so impactful in such a little amount of time. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing what Trent and Atticus and his bandmates do with this song. As you could tell lyrically, right, it has a lot of sort of themes of doubt and struggle and perseverance, but just clearly somebody who's in a position, that's incredibly challenging for them, and they're trying to hold on to something, right? Obviously, you could take it really literally, you could take it very metaphorically, and we'll get to that. But musically, I think this song is absolutely incredible, and it has this melancholic nature to it that is just, you can't not love it. Like, you just cannot be moved by it. Or you can not be moved by it. I have no idea what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is you have to be moved by this song. There it is. What I want to highlight here is a few things. The strings, the sort of chord progression of the song, specifically in the third act, is my absolute favorite. So we'll probably leave that towards the end here. But let's kind of isolate the drums here, the percussion of the song, because it's one of the best parts. It's so good. It's got that clap. Nice little clap there. Any great song, right, has great building blocks, right? It layers upon itself. Love it. It just has so much beautiful movement in the percussion. This song is very minimalist as well. It doesn't really have a lot of things really going on with it. And so it's, I don't know, but that's that sort of classic Nine Inch Nails closer, hi-hat. It's perfect, right? This song is, like I was saying, it's just incredibly, it's short, right? I guess, I don't know. For some reason, I say it's short because it's Nine Inch Nails, like they're not, they do short songs, but they could do some long songs as well. Obviously rock bands, alternative rock bands, industrial metal, like progressive, you could sort of kind of elongate the runtimes of some of these songs because, a lot of these bands and a lot of these artists, they tend to just kind of go that route, right? The more alternative, more edgier route, less mainstreamy type of route where the songs can breathe, for 7-8 minutes, right? I mean, we're not going super Tool length over here, but it's a 3 minute and 23 second song. Everything is just perfectly tight. That is what he said. But it's all so meticulous, and it's also intentional, and everything just never overstays its welcome. It is all just brilliantly pieced together, in such a way for it to create the most powerful and most effective expression of what the song is ultimately trying to do. Like it just succeeds at every single level because of how detailed and fine-tuned everything is. I mean, just this percussion section here is just, it's perfect. I could listen to it on repeat forever. You know what I mean? Like it's so great, so meticulously crafted, and it almost sounds like it's pieced together. It's almost like it sounds, engineered, electronic. It sounds artificial, right? That's sort of the point. That's what Nine Inch Nails clearly was going with here, where it almost sounds like it was, the drums were not, it clearly doesn't sound like it was played, naturally. It was like this is the snare, this is the hi-hat, this is the tom, and we're just going to sort of piece it together, like it's not like it was this was an organic part, at least that's not what it sounds like. It just all sounds like just these isolated noises that were just put together to make this beat. And that sounds awesome. Like ultimately, the end result is great. Let's go to the end here. Ooh. So we get sort of like a reverb effect added. This is great. And what's interesting is that you get sort of, this doesn't happen throughout the rest of the song, right? It only happens in the climax of the song, right? And that's what I love. You gotta have songs that change, that have dynamic, And sort of that reverb is taken off once we get to the end section, or the very, very end of the song, where the drums sort of just lead us to the outro of the track. Yeah. It just becomes dry, It's great. Absolutely beautiful. I never even noticed that. That's great. This is the best part about sort of analyzing these sort of stems, right, if you will. I don't have the official stems. I'm using a program here to sort of isolate the tracks. I wish I had the official stems. That'd be great. But things like this, you don't really notice unless you isolate things. So that's fantastic. Let's do a little bit of the vocal here and a little bit of the bass. Sure, why not?
Gun fire in the street where we used to meet. Echoes out of beat.
I'm curious about this.
Goes bomb.
That's great. Boom. I never, it was difficult to sort of figure out the note that he was singing because the instrumentation is fantastic and the bass is great, and it almost just, it doesn't even like his voice completely just is absorbed by the rest of the instrumentation in this section. Let me see if I can play it. It's hard to tell what note exactly he's singing in that part. Here, let me see.
We used to meet. Echoes out of beat and the bass goes bomb.
I could tell now that I've listened to it on its own, but it's because the guitar comes right in at that moment, and so it sort of kind of trumps over his voice. But that's beautiful. Boom, boom. It's so good, dude. It's so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's keep listening to the bass here.
Right over my head, step over the dead. Remember.
I love that melody. Na 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 na. It's so pretty. It's absolutely pretty. Trent Reznor just has a knack, to making melodies, beautiful melodies, that just pull at your heartstrings, and which is like a phrase that you don't normally you wouldn't normally use for a Nine Inch Nails song, but Trent Reznor just writes beautiful melodies amidst all of this electronic, anarchy, like it's just amazing.
Just a waking dream. Well, I know what you mean, but that ain't how it seems right here, right now. How can this be real?
Now
I can barely feel anymore.
love the breaths. I want to get to the sort of pre-chorus.
I am trying to see.
Or the chorus.
I am trying to believe.
Yeah.
This is not where I should be. I am trying to
got the perfect amount of mysticism and just beauty. Believe. Even the way that he sings it, right? It's just so ethereal. And I am trying to believe, right? That's sort of the slogan of the song, you know. I don't necessarily have to go over the entire song here lyrically, but I am trying to believe. The song's themes, at least from what I hear, right, there's sort of this sort of like war setting to it. It's this soldier, right, out in battle. But like, again, the battle can be a metaphor, right? Like everybody is tempted to lose faith, you know, and this is, I'm not even talking about it like religiously, right? Like just people every single day, you know, when you have a bad day, right, you're tempted to lose faith in purpose, in meaning in life, right? It's easy to just succumb to depression, to anger, frustration, all the negative things that make life miserable, that can make life hell for you, right? And so everybody's fighting their battles, right? Everybody is a soldier, right? That's why, like, sort of, you know, in a way, right? Like, oh, be a good soldier, right? It's sort of like, it could be a very condescending term, or just be a really mean term to tell somebody, you know, to just follow the rules, you know, like, but it could also be incredibly positive, right? Just be a good soldier, you know, like, you know, believe, you know, sort of have faith, you know, don't, you know, just come on, be brave, get out there, you know what I mean? Like, don't get so demotivated, you know, you could sort of, that's what I imagine it sort of can be, right? It can be looked as, right? You know, just be a good little soldier, right? It could be condescending, but it could also be, you know, be a good soldier, you know, be a strong cog in the wheel, you know what I mean? Like, because you make up, you're a part of this entire body, you know, that is humanity, that is the human race, that is the earth. And by you doing your part and going out there every single day and being motivated and happy and positive and ready to face the world, you are a better tool for everybody else, right? You help everybody else succeed, right? You know, and so sort of thinking of it like that, right? But the song deals with this struggle that this main character, this protagonist, is feeling of like, it's hard for me to continue to be that good soldier. You know, there are things happening to me that is making it hard for me to embrace that identity or to embrace that fully and to continue to have faith, right? And that's what everybody deals with, right? It is so real. And right now, specifically in my own life, I'm dealing with a lot of that. The late 20s suck, okay? For all of you who've already been through it or you haven't been through it, you know, I just want to say the late 20s suck. I've been having an existential crisis, but I'm still continuing to have one, and it's probably getting bigger. I mean, I'm an atheist. I'm not a religious person. I love religion. I respect religion, sort of as literary work, as philosophy, you know, as things to sort of read and analyze and think about metaphors and allegories and stuff like that. And it's very, it can be very fruitful in that manner, right? I don't really take things literally. But even philosophically, the idea of keeping the faith is something that is very sort of like, you know, using the word faith is difficult, right? Because you're thinking about religion, but I sort of just think about it generally of like, you know, having motivation, right? To continue giving my best, you know, to continue wanting to give my best, because I feel like I always do give my best, but it's that sort of feeling inside, right? It's like, do I want to be here? Do I have purpose? Bad things are happening to me, or things are not working out. Life sucks, right? When is it going to get better? Will it get better, right? In other words, will I continue to have faith, right? And so this song to me, I mean, I feel like I'm that soldier right now, you know? Like, and I think everybody feels that to a certain extent. Like, you feel like you are in a battle and you're like, holy crap, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I really have no idea. I'm losing the faith here. I feel like I'm going to lose this goddamn battle. Like there's no hope here. In fact, the fact that I'm in war is a huge problem. You know what I mean? Like why am I in a war in the first place? Right? It's like that sort of could be paired with, why is there suffering in the first place? You know what I mean? Like, why does life suck so much naturally? Right? Why is there evil in the world? Like all these sort of existential questions. And so you're like, God, like having faith is really hard in a world like this, in an ugly world like this, right? There's a lot of beauty as well. There is 100%. But then you sit there and think, well, why is there so much pain and suffering as well? Why couldn't there just be all beauty, right? And then, you get into then you wouldn't have a really good, a good character arc, if you don't have some challenge, right? Some hurdles, then it just would feel meaningless, and purposeless, and it would just be boring, and then that's a whole other discussion. But in life, right, we all have these questions and these doubts, right? Like I think this song could be extremely relatable to a religious person, right? It's like, you have doubts, right, of whether God exists or not, of whether he hears your prayers, of whether there is something out there at all, right? Like people have that. I'm an atheist. I have my doubts in terms of just, on a more grounded level of just like, my God, is my life just going to get better? Like why does life suck so much? I'm losing it, and people can lose it, in all these different types of walks of life, and lyrically, right, theme-wise, this song really relates to me, and I just love it so much. But the thing about music, right, is that it can use sound to enhance that feeling and to connect you even further with the themes, and that's what this song does, specifically with the strings. Oh my God. Ooh. Wow. Oh. Wow, just the way that it evolves. The way that it evolves is insane. Ooh. Yes. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my God. We got to listen to the guitar again with it too. Let's see. That's absolutely beautiful, right? It's ethereal. The song reaches this sort of climax, and like, it's very ambiguous, like in terms of the song is in this sort of, purgatory, like it's in doubt. It's in anxiety. It's in the unknown, right? It's sort of metaphorically, it's in a no man's land, because you're up there and you don't know whether you're gonna get shot or not. And in the same way, we don't know whether this protagonist ends up believing in himself again, or believing in God again, or having faith again, or being positive again, or having purpose or meaning or a reason to live again. We don't know, and that's what makes this song so incredibly relevant and so ethereal, because it has an unknown aspect to it. It doesn't have a finite resolution, right? On a lyrical level, right? On a thematic level. And this section right here, though, is so melancholic, right? Like it has its resolution, as any good song does, like melodically, progression wise. But the progression is so melodic and so edgy, right? Just for lack of a better word, that it gets that theme, the theme of the unknown, the theme of doubt that the song has, and just like it amplifies it, and it just goes along with it. And it is exactly how the melancholic feeling of not knowing whether your prayers are being heard or not. Like that is what this section is, And what sealed the deal? What sealed the deal? And this is the most incredible thing, and I shit you not, when I was listening to this song. So oftentimes when I listen to music, I sort of, like when I listen to a certain melody or a progression, I think in my head while I'm listening to the song, I sort of think about the way that it should end. And I sort of finish the melody in my head. Oftentimes what happens is I get it wrong, right? And the song goes in a completely different direction, whether it's a good direction or bad, but it goes in a different direction. Sometimes it goes exactly where I thought it was going to go. And when that happens, it is so incredibly euphoric. It feels like the song was made for me. And it was that. But also, the thing about the song is that it didn't do it until the very end. And what I mean by that is, so let me sort of play the progression here as best as I can. And I think it's really the guitar the guitar and the strings kind of do it. So this part right here is very similar to that end section, right? To the third act of the song. But it doesn't have a resolution. It sort of stays. It doubles down on the unknown. It doubles down on being on sort of leaving us at a cliffhanger, right? In terms of the melody. Melodies, of course, they have to resolve. That's sort of just how our brains are wired to see melody. In the same way that a story has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? Like, if it doesn't have an end, it freaks us out. So, it doesn't resolve. It just, you imagine that you kind of want it to go. You want it to go somewhere. You want it to resolve in some way. This was the moment in this section of the song where I was like, I was like, God, it annoys me that it doesn't resolve. And I was thinking of it in my head where I wanted it to go. And then when we get to the end of the song and it goes there, that's when I just knew that this song was, it was made for me. Well, there we have it, everybody. That was my analysis of The Good Soldier by Nine Inch Nails. I would like to hear what your thoughts are. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think I'm on to something here? Is there something that I made you notice, or that you didn't, sort of think about? Did you have a revelation? Is there something I missed? Do you think I'm wrong here? Do you disagree with me? I don't know. Let me know what your favorite Nine Inch Nails song is, whatever it is you want to talk about. Let's have a good, constructive discussion down below. Give this video a like if you like, dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this content. You want to see more stuff like this. What other Nine Inch Nails song would you like me to dissect in this manner? Let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. You want to see more stuff like this. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, you beautiful creature. But that's it for me. You all take care, stay safe, and until next time, I love you.